Duane Beats and his uncle, Kane, set out for what they believed would be another routine dive into the depths of Little River Springs. Confident in their skills and well acquainted with the cave's labyrinth, they prepared for what promised to be an exhilarating 80-minute adventure. However, this dive quickly turned into a nightmare. As they journeyed deeper into the cave, swirling silt and mud clouded the water, reducing visibility to nearly zero. It wasn't long before Kane realized Jerry had vanished from his sight. Frantically, he retraced his steps, calling out into the impenetrable darkness. Silence. With their air supply dwindling, his heart raced with urgency and fear. Where was Jerry? Was he trapped or lost? As precious seconds slipping away, Kane faced a harrowing choice: continue the search for his nephew or risk both of their lives in the merciless depths of the cave. Let's unravel the mystery together. Little River Springs, a hidden gem of wonder. Located in Suwannee River County Park in Florida, Little River Springs offers visitors a serene landscape from the bustle of daily life. This tranquil locale is a water sports paradise, featuring an abundance of water bodies spread across 125 acres, a marvel for divers and a sanctuary for waterbirds. The clarity of the spring water, in stark contrast to the tea-colored waters of the nearby Suwannee River, creates a spectacular sight for all who see it. The transparent spring water offers incredible visibility at the bottom, making it an appealing destination not only for diving and swimming, but also for both professional and amateur cave divers. This area is no exception, not only for its stunning appearance, but also for its constant water temperature of 72 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Whether during a hot summer or a cold winter, Little River Springs remains an ideal destination for water activities and offers inviting swimming conditions for tourists and explorers and divers. Visitors can enjoy recreational activities such as canoeing, kayaking, and tubing, among others. However, it's the underwater cave system that truly sets this region apart, offering a thrilling challenge for adventurers looking to push their limits. A diver's paradise. Little River Springs may seem like a simple, attractive haven surrounded by picturesque water, but it conceals caves that present significant challenges to kayakers and divers and demand considerable respect. For cave divers, the site ranks among the best locations for the ultimate thrill of exploring intricate cave systems, or conversely, posing one of the greatest risks. Diving at Little River Springs, along with other renowned dive sites like Devil's Eye, Devil's Ear, Peacock Springs, and Cow Springs, is restricted due to the inherent dangers. These sites consistently attract divers intrigued by the unique features of this challenging and demanding type of diving, which requires a great deal of physical effort, skill, and sound judgment. Several fatal factors make cave diving particularly hazardous. Exploring these tunnels requires both stamina and skill to navigate through their depths. Among its thrilling features, the underwater corkscrew emerges within the first 100 feet of the dive. This mesmerizing, spiraling pattern signifies a transition from a relatively less risky environment to a more perilous one, leading divers further into the cave at Matmata. While the corkscrew's crystalline structure captivates with its natural beauty, it also serves as a critical reminder for divers. The increasing complexity of the dive demands heightened awareness and vigilance. The complexity of underwater caves. Little River Springs is an intricate cave system designed for professional divers and researchers, characterized by its challenging and potentially hazardous conditions. As divers venture deeper into the cave, they encounter escalating risks. The initial entrance, which is straightforward and clearly marked, soon transitions into narrow, foggy passages. The cave walls, layered with silt and mud, are easily disturbed. Any movement can cloud the water with particulates, disorienting even the most skilled divers and creating situations where time is of the essence. Among the challenges faced by researchers exploring such a cave, the architecture presents significant difficulties. With numerous twists, turns, and constricted passageways, divers must exercise extreme caution to avoid becoming stuck or lost. In this environment, using the appropriate equipment and adhering to safety protocols is essential. Cave diving significantly differs from open water and recreational diving, requiring additional skills such as working in confined spaces, managing low oxygen levels, and handling high-stress situations. One of the most formidable challenges divers face within the cave system is the dramatic change in environment as they descend deeper. The SM cavers begin in a spacious sandy tunnel with a solid stone floor. But unlike many other caves, this expansive tunnel quickly narrows into tight passages, often obscured by silt and lacking visible markers like twigs to indicate a clear route. The cave walls remain muddy, and the floors are covered with a thick layer of silt, meaning that any movement carries substantial risk. A single careless kick can disturb the sediment, creating a cloud of silt in the water that obscures the view of the guideline and leaves divers disoriented, unable to determine their position in relation to the exit or the boat above. The risky well casing. Adding to the dangers of the natural cave system is an artificial element, the well casing. At the extremity of the cave, divers encounter this structure, originally built by a farmer seeking to extract clean water from the spring for his crops. While the well casing may initially seem like a useful feature, it has turned into a significant hazard within the cave, with divers frequently finding themselves trapped in tragic accidents. In fact, earlier in 2003, a diver lost his life near the well casing just before Jerry and Kane's dive, highlighting the risks that lurk in these depths. The well casing disrupts the natural water currents within the cave, causing unpredictable silt movements that can confuse divers. Additionally, its location deep within the cave means that any diver who reaches this point must swim for several hours toward the surface in oxygen-scarce water. Those who overexert themselves may run out of air, leaving them vulnerable and unable to find their way back to safety. The day of the dive. On November 26, 2003, Jerry Duane Beats and his uncle, Kerry Overfield, an experienced and highly skilled cave diver, set out for what appeared to be a routine diving adventure at Little Springs River. Jerry, at 42 years old, was a veteran diver and a certified instructor who had completed over 20 dives in this spring alone. Kane, 46, brought a comparable wealth of experience and qualifications to the dive, instilling both of them with the confidence necessary to navigate the challenging sections of the cave. They planned to dive for a feasible 80 minutes and, during their exploration, utilized their diver propulsion vehicles, DPVs, commonly known as scooters, to cover more ground within the allotted time while conserving oxygen. These scooters allowed divers to travel greater distances more quickly and with minimal exertion, an essential factor in cave diving, where conserving oxygen can mean the difference between life and death. Jerry and Kane intended to explore the cave along the so-called Gold Line, a series of markers specially designed to help divers maintain their orientation in the intricate underwater labyrinth. The rule of diving safety. Other important considerations in cave diving include the rule of thirds, which dictates that divers should allocate 1/3 of their air supply for entering the cave, another third for exiting, and the final third for contingencies. This rule is crucial because cave divers typically carry limited air, and they must ensure they have sufficient reserves to safely navigate inward and ascend back to the surface in the event of an emergency. Jerry and Kane strictly adhered to this rule, feeling assured in their ability to accurately assess the risks involved in their dive. Their goal was to explore the section of the cave that featured the well casing, fully aware of the dangers it posed. Earlier in the year, a diver had tragically lost his life near the well casing, having become too fixated on the structure and neglecting to monitor his air supply. Nonetheless, Jerry and Kane were reassured by their extensive experience and training, firmly believing that they would not fall victim to the same fate. Navigating the maze. The dive began as planned. Both men followed the Gold Line, which guided them toward the main tunnel of the cave. As they progressed, the light diminished, and the passageways became narrower and increasingly complex. They reached the merry-go-round and serpentine tunnel section at a depth of about 27.43 meters, approximately 90 feet, connecting to the expansive Florida Room. Like many dives, the Florida Room provided momentary respite from the constricting tunnels, serving as a significant waypoint in their exploration. Beyond this point, however, conditions grew moderately hazardous, characterized by reduced visibility and thick layers of mud coating the walls and floor. Upon entering the Florida Room, Jerry and Kane decided to abandon their scooters and proceed on foot. The remaining corridors were too narrow and fragile to withstand the lateral force generated by the scooters. While these devices were suitable for covering long distances, using them could easily stir up silt and mud, resulting in a murky mist that would impair visibility. By choosing to travel without the scooters, they could navigate the tunnels more cautiously and minimize disruption to their surroundings, ensuring a safer exploration of the cave's intricate passages. A diver's worst nightmare. And it was here, deep within the belly of the cave, that things began to go awry. Kane suddenly realized that Jerry was no longer following right behind him. As the dark enveloped them, visibility began to wane. And at first, Kane assumed Jerry had simply slowed down or was taking a moment to adjust his gear. However, after a few unsettling minutes, Kane sensed that something was wrong. He turned back, determined to find his nephew, but was met with an alarming realization. Jerry was nowhere in sight. The silt and mud in the cave had likely been stirred up, shrouding Jerry's vision in a dense cloud of sediment. Kane could only imagine how disorienting it must be for Jerry, unable to see clearly in the murky water. Panic set in as Kane began to frantically circle the outer perimeter of the well casing, his mind racing with urgency. Time was slipping away. Every second counted. They both had limited oxygen, and the longer he spent searching for Jerry, the more they would deplete their air supply, jeopardizing their chances for a safe return to the surface. A desperate search. Kane's search grew increasingly desperate, yet remained methodical. He crawled through the thick mud and swirling silt, hoping to determine if Jerry had met with misfortune. At last, he spotted his nephew, still on his scooter but struggling as it became immobilized in the swirling muck. The conditions were so adverse that Jerry could hardly see where he was or how to escape. Kane reached out his hand, ready to pull him in, but in that instant, Jerry vanished between the shallow water once again. Kane's heart sank. He fully understood how dire the situation had become. With visibility near zero and time running out, he feared he might have seen Jerry for the last time. He was faced with a gut-wrenching choice: begin his own extrication or risk both their lives by continuing the search. As he slid up the cave wall, he could only pray that Jerry had somehow survived the struggle and had managed to escape the perilous depths. A rescue effort too late. When Kane finally reached the surface, he called out for help, and a rescue team was swiftly dispatched. However, by the time they arrived, it was too late. Both men had tragically succumbed to the cold water. Jerry's remains were eventually recovered in the Florida Room, his scooter buried beneath a thick layer of clay. Another heartbreaking tale came to a devastating close with the loss of a cave diver caught in the treacherous depths. What do you think Jerry might have done differently in this situation? Comment below and let us know your thoughts. If you're as passionate about cave diving and adventures as we are, remember to subscribe and click the notification button to follow more stories of adventure, disaster, and survival in the world's most enigmatic caves. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.